Rich Dad Poor Dad, What the Rich Teach Their Kids About Money That the Poor and Middle Class Do Not, by Robert Kyosaki.
About the author. Best known as the author of Rich Dad Poor Dad, the #1 personal finance book of all time, Robert Kyosaki has challenged and changed the way tens of millions of people around the world think about money. He is an entrepreneur, educator, and investor who believes the world needs more entrepreneurs who will create jobs. With perspectives on money and investing that often contradict conventional wisdom, Robert has earned an international reputation for straight talk, irreverence, and courage, and has become a passionate and outspoken advocate for financial education. Robert and Kim Kiyosaki are founders of the Rich Dad Company, a financial education company, and creators of the cash flow registered games. In 2014, the company will leverage the global success of the Rich Dad games in the launch of a new and breakthrough offering in mobile and online gaming. Robert has been heralded as a visionary who has a gift for simplifying complex concepts, ideas related to money, investing, finance, and economics, and has shared his personal journey to financial freedom in ways that resonate with audiences of all ages and backgrounds. His core principles and messages like "your house is not an asset" and "invest for cash flow" and "savers are losers" have ignited a firestorm of criticism and ridicule, only to have played out on the world economic stage over the past decade in ways that were both unsettling and prophetic. His point of view is that old advice, go to college, get a good job, save money, get out of debt, invest for the long term, and diversify, has become obsolete advice in today's fast-paced information age. His Rich Dad philosophies and messages challenge the status quo. His teachings encourage people to become financially educated and to take an active role in investing for their future. By the same author. Why A students work for C students. Rich Dads increase your financial IQ. Rich Dad's Guide to Investing. Rich Dads Who Took My Money. Rich Dad's Cash Flow Quadrant. Rich Dad's Guide to Becoming Rich Without Cutting Up Your Credit Cards. Why We Want You to Be Rich. Robert Kiyosaki's Fake Midas Touch, Unfair Advantage, Second Chance. Conspiracy of the Rich. Escape the Rat Race. Rich Dad Poor Dad for Teens. Rich Dad's Rich Kid Smart Kid. Rich Dads Before You Quit Your Job. Rich Dads Retire Young, Retire Rich. Rich Dad's Success Stories. About the book.
It's been nearly 25 years since Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad Poor Dad first made waves in the personal finance arena. It has since become the #1 personal finance book of all time, translated into dozens of languages and sold around the world. Rich Dad Poor Dad is Robert's story of growing up with two dads, his real father and the father of his best friend, his rich dad, and the ways in which both men shaped his thoughts about money and investing. The book explodes the myth that you need to earn a high income to be rich and explains the difference between working for money and having your money work for you.
In this book, Robert gives 6 lessons learned from Rich Dad. Lesson 1. The rich don't work for money. Lesson 2. Why teach financial literacy? Lesson 3. Mind your own business. Lesson 4. The history of taxes and the power of corporations. Lesson 5. The rich invent money. Lesson 6. Work to learn, don't work for money. Lesson 2. Why teach financial literacy? It's not how much money you make. It's how much money you keep. I am concerned that too many people are too focused on money and not on their greatest wealth, their education. If people are prepared to be flexible, keep an open mind and learn, they will grow richer and richer despite tough changes. If they think money will solve problems, they will have a rough ride. Intelligence solves problems and produces money. Money without financial intelligence is money soon gone. So when people ask, "Where do I get started?" or "Tell me how to get rich quick," they often are greatly disappointed with my answer. I simply say to them what my rich dad said to me when I was a little kid. If you want to be rich, you need to be financially literate. Accounting is possibly the most confusing, boring subject in the world, but if you want to be rich long term, it could be the most important subject. Rich people acquire assets. The poor and middle class acquire liabilities that they think are assets. What defines an asset are not words, but numbers. And if you can't read the numbers, you can't tell an asset from a hole in the ground. In accounting, Rich Dad would say, it's not the numbers, but what the numbers are telling you. It's just like words. It's not the words, but the story the words are telling you. If you want to be rich, you've got to read and understand numbers. Illiteracy, both in words and numbers, is the foundation of financial struggle. If people are having difficulties financially, there is something that they don't understand, either in words or numbers. The rich are rich because they are more literate in different areas than people who struggle financially. So if you want to be rich and maintain your wealth, it's important to be financially literate, in words as well as numbers. Cash flow tells the story of how a person handles money. The arrows in the diagrams represent the flow of cash, or cash flow. In financial reporting, reading numbers is looking for the plot, the story of where the cash is flowing. This is the cash flow pattern of a poor person. In this pattern, the only source of income is a salary that covers the monthly expenses. There is no saving that can be invested. That's working for money. This is the cash flow pattern of a person in the middle class. In this middle class pattern, the only source of income is still a salary but higher than the previous. However, there is no assets, only liabilities such as car, house loans. This is the cash flow pattern of a rich person. In the pattern of a rich person, there are several sources of income generated by assets such as real estate, stocks, bonds, notes and intellectual properties. The income in this pattern not only covers liabilities but the rest would be reinvested in other assets. That's money working hard. In pattern 1 and 2, more money will often not solve the problem. In fact, it may compound the problem. Money often makes obvious our tragic human flaws, putting a spotlight on what we don't know. That is why, all too often, a person who comes into a sudden windfall of cash, let's say an inheritance, a pay raise, or lottery winning, soon returns to the same financial mess, if not worse, than the mess they were in before. It's called financial aptitude: what you do with the money once you make it, how to keep people from taking it from you, how to keep it longer, and how to make that money work hard for you. Most people don't understand why they struggle financially because they don't understand cash flow. In summary, the end result in making a decision to own a house that is too expensive in lieu of starting an investment portfolio impacts an individual in at least the following 3 ways. 1. Loss of time, during which other assets could have grown in value. 2. Loss of additional capital, which could have been invested instead of paying for high maintenance expenses related directly to the home. 3. Loss of education. Too often, people count their house and savings and retirement plans as all they have in their asset column. Because they have no money to invest, they simply don't invest. This costs them investment experience. When I want a bigger house, I first buy assets that will generate the cash flow to pay for the house. Why the rich get richer. A review of my rich dad's financial statement shows why the rich get richer. The asset column generates more than enough income to cover expenses, with the balance reinvested into the asset column. The asset column continues to grow and, therefore, the income it produces grows with it. The result is that the rich get richer. This pattern of treating your home as an investment, and the philosophy that a pay raise means you can buy a larger home or spend more, is the foundation of today's debt-ridden society. Increased spending throws families into greater debt and into more financial uncertainty, even though they may be advancing in their jobs and receiving raises on a regular basis. This is high-risk living caused by weak financial education. Today, mutual funds are popular because they supposedly represent safety. Average mutual fund buyers are too busy working to pay taxes and mortgages, save for their children's college, and pay off credit cards. They do not have time to study investing, so they rely on the expertise of the manager of a mutual fund. Also, because the mutual fund includes many different types of investments, they feel their money is safer because it is diversified. This educated middle class subscribes to the dogma put out by mutual fund brokers and financial planners: play it safe. Avoid risk. The real tragedy is that the lack of early financial education is what creates the risk faced by average middle class people. The reason they have to play it safe is because their financial positions are tenuous at best. Their balance sheets are not balanced. Instead, they are loaded with liabilities and have no real assets that generate income. R. Buckminster Fuller, wealth is a person's ability to survive so many number of days forward, or, if I stopped working today, how long could I survive? Wealth is the measure of the cash flow from the asset column compared with the expense column. Let's use an example. Let's say I have cash flow from my asset column of $1,000 a month. And I have monthly expenses of $2,000. What is my wealth? Let's go back to Buckminster Fuller's definition. Using his definition, how many days forward can I survive? Assuming a 30-day month, I have enough cash flow for half a month. When I achieve $2,000 a month cash flow from my assets, then I will be wealthy. So while I'm not yet rich, I am wealthy. I now have income generated from assets each month that fully cover my monthly expenses. Financial independence. I have focused on, and been successful in, building an asset column that has made me financially independent. If I quit my job today, I would be able to cover my monthly expenses with the cash flow from my assets. My next goal would be to have the excess cash flow from my assets reinvested into the asset column. The more money that goes into my asset column, the more my asset column grows. The more my assets grow, the more my cash flow grows. And as long as I keep my expenses less than the cash flow from these assets, I grow richer with more and more income from sources other than my physical labor.